Um, okay, let's get started here. And so we have Lauren Light, like I said, and um, let me just make this a little bigger. So Lauren Light is a sync agent and co-owner of 206 Music, a licensing agency that represents one-stop music for film, TV, ads, and trailers. The company has secured placements with brands and productions like Adidas, Michael Kors, Grey's Anatomy, Simone Biles Rising, and recently expanded into music supervision. Yay! Working on 4 films last year, Lauren is also an accomplished artist herself, absolutely, with music featured in campaigns for Xbox, Google, Apple, Nike, Motorola, Volvo, and American Express. And let's see, just want to tell you about Pandion, and I'm sure you all know much about us, but we're 501(c)(3) nonprofit. We provide to our community, you, opportunities for music creators in Los Angeles and helping to cultivate long-lasting lives in music. We offer online workshops and wellness support. Sometimes we do scholarship-based mentorships, and that's like more for the teens. We did that last summer. And we also foster a community where creators from diverse backgrounds and identities have the support, tools, and resilience they need to keep making music in an ever-evolving industry. So welcome, Lauren. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I am doing great. It's been a great day, a busy day. But yeah, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here and excited just to see what we can chit chat about and hopefully help everyone with. So,
Yay. Yeah, great. Okay, so I have there's a few questions for you. What are some of the tips when connecting with an agent at an event? Um, you you're an agent yourself, so maybe for people that want to connect with you, it is a more appropriate question.
yeah, I honestly think for everything, just actually being more of a human being and a friend and coming up and talking that way. Because I mean, it's a lot easier to work with friends. And I mean, at the end of the day, everyone is just a human being. So I think coming over, obviously, if it's a networking event, I'm going to know that you do music of some sort. If you're a really cool person, I'm probably going to ask at the end, be like, do you do any music or what stuff like that? And we'll probably find each other on social, and then you can do the access there to reach out. But I think just in person, it's like if not, you feel like you're crowded in a space and you're like, help. So I would just say be a human and friendly and make a good connection first, music second. So yeah.
I'm curious, now that you're in Italy, do you come across musicians that just like randomly and start talking licensing and
Oh,
make
in
introductions
Italy?
that way?
Not so much in Italy. It's not as big here, but I do live half the year here. But it is a world that I think a lot of people here would like to get more into. So we've tried to pull in some Italian artists and whatnot as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, because yeah, licensing's international, but you're right. I hear you
Yeah,
about that. But that's cool. You can kind of just be there and just do your own work and not get, you can just focus. Um,
exactly.
yeah. So, speaking of you being 50% there and 50% here, how do you do it? What are your secrets? How do you split your time like with licensing and music supervision and being an artist yourself? Do you actually write music while you're there in Italy, or do you and record, or do you wait till you're back, or how does that all work?
Yeah, no, and I'll tell you on the agency side, the one thing I do like about being in Italy is for the first half of the day, no one gets in touch with me. So this is the time where I can really make sure our catalog has been really thoroughly gone through. We make sure there's any like goal planning because no one's getting in touch with me. I can kind of go over that stuff. We can go over submissions. Also, we do work with Europe as well. So I'm able to actually be in touch with them and kind of get some of those connections made while I'm here. And then when I'm in the US, we're doing a lot of stuff within Los Angeles and we're trying to actually just make connections there, doing a lot of conferences. And then in that point, you're kind of in the heart of it all. So there's no break. So, like I said, it's a good mix of both. So we can kind of, adapt and then make sure our systems are in place. Obviously, all of the music we want to import too. And that kind of helps when it's quiet.
Yeah, that's nice. And I know the last workshop you led was you gave us a whole rundown on your organizational skills and Airtable. And we don't need to bring that up, but are you still like the organizational queen with your
I I'm obsessed with Airtable. I promise you there's no sponsorship, but I do love being organized for the fact that I can be five humans instead of just one, just for the fact that everything's automated. So 206 as well is fully on Airtable. We have everything automated from our contracts to saying your song's been signed, even our input when everyone fills out our form. It goes through a whole system so we make sure not to miss anyone and it's kind of systemized. So love organization.
That's so good. I mean, who needs AI when you have Lauren, right?
No, AI helps a little bit,
A
though,
little AI help, right?
a little,
Oh,
as
God.
long as it's not the music.
Yeah. Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
please. Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
It can be in systems. It can be in systems. We still try to answer as real humans, though. So,
Right. And that's where we can differentiate ourselves from AI musicians, is get out there and perform and get your groove on, right? Because you
yeah.
can't be replaced that way, that's for sure. Um, so as far as like working with um, you know, the general like independent artist, and you're coming in also as an independent artist, how, and I know that gives you a nice perspective of like both sides. So when you're coming in and we're all submitting for some of these amazing briefs that you offer, like through Facebook or through your website and just randomly sending emails, um, what, what, what are what's the best thing that you look for? Like like something in your subject, in the subject line, or something in terms of what stands out and what, along with what mistakes might come up along the way?
All right. This one's gonna be fun. Just as far as just general reach out, are you talking about like the first time kind
Yeah,
of thing?
because I think that like some people haven't established a relationship with you in this group yet.
Yeah, no, of course. So a lot of times in emails, we sometimes find it's a little overwhelming when someone sends a novel about themselves. So I get like this whole entire novel, and then they've put like, here's my Spotify link, here's a SoundCloud link to this one, here's a YouTube link. And I'm a little overwhelmed because, like, as I said today, I've done three quote requests. It's like sometimes that's overwhelming. I put it to the side and then we lose it. And I hate to say it, it is what it is. But for me, some signs that I say are very good when I see an email that's just kind of straight to the point, very simple, just like, hey, if you're looking for music, my name is this. If you've done something in the sync space, saying that is kind of helpful. You don't need to give me your whole entire discography, but just be like, I work in the sync space. I've gotten some placements on MTV. I've gotten some whatever. Here's a disco link. If you have a disco link, I have to say, it does make me know that you're probably in the sync world or kind of understand it. So I'm more keen to think, okay, they probably know what metadata is. They probably know, they have the writer info and say, is that true? Who knows? It just makes me feel like that instead of seeing like SoundCloud and whatnot like that. But if someone does send a box or a Dropbox, I'm still keen to open it up and see it as long as it's a streamable link, one link. And then just at the very end, thank you so much for your time. Would love to hear from you soon. Just, nothing like, please respond back to me now. We've had some where they're just like, oh, why aren't you answering me?
Oh,
And it's
geez.
been less than 24 hours. And I'm just like, ah. Um, yes. So just be kind, as I said, and just, we're all three artists first before we started a sync agency. So we know what the opposite side is like. So we really are pulling for artists and we really want artist friendly, ready for sync. So it's like make our job easy. We really want y'all. So don't, do any of those crazy pant things. So I don't know if I answered, but hopefully that kind of does a little
Yeah,
bit.
well, I mean, it's like there's so much to cover, but I think we can just get the little golden nuggets from me like that. So, so here we are, like somebody submitted you're interested now, and so sometimes you're wearing the supervisor hat. How does that work with your agency?
Yes, the supervisor hat is very new for us, but I love it. It's a different side in general. but we have to be more involved with different agencies and we have to do a lot more clearance. So I work with a lot more record labels as well as directors want bigger songs. And we have to convince them that an artist indie track is going to be so much better for them than that one. So that is kind of fun because we also can kind of pick from 206, but we also get to partner with other agencies that we're friends with and try to pull in the best song. So we do like that song, that side, but yeah, it's just a different world. Do you have any specific questions on that one?
Well, like, sometimes there's, okay, well, one thing I want to compliment you on is I think you would be really good as a supervisor because half of that is about organization and like reaching out and getting clearance and that's a lot of work because I've worked I'm like best friends with the music supervisor and she's like she was one of the first and like she just is super organized and that's her hat like and now she's in film production as well, so she's producer. So she went that route. But yeah, anyway, I just think that it's going back to the supervisor. Do you work directly sometimes with the music editors?
Yeah.
And then do you find like when you are getting these songs and disco and you're wondering like, darn, like maybe I wish the stems were here, or maybe I wish you had a TV version, or what do you see when you get these songs submitted to you? What do you see that you would love to have in your disco bundle?
Yeah, I'll even just say an example that just happened today. Which I haven't even told the artist, but I'll tell y'all a little bit. We were working on a trailer placement and we had four songs they were possibly interested in. And I asked for stems. One of the artists was authentic vintage, so I knew they wouldn't have stems, so I wouldn't even think about that at all. But we only had stems for one of the artists, and that artist just secured the spot because they needed stems. The editor, it literally was a three-part trailer, so they needed to actually have something they could audibly mangle into the next song. So just by having stems, they actually landed the gig. So it's nice. Again, if it's vintage, I completely understand there's no stems. But if it's something that's newer, having stems available on hand, that not even that we have to have, but knowing that we can get it really helps us with opportunities for those bigger budget stuff. So that's one thing I do like to see on our end. And even within this music supervision world too, it just makes it so much easier for an editor to be able to chop and place. But for us, I mean, really at the end of the day, as long as I have a main and instrumental, I'm super happy. The instrumental is just the bare minimum. It's static. Everything else is just, bonus and can help us a little bit more to possibly get, you picked over someone else just because it's easier to edit, if that's the small short of it.
Yeah, that's a great response. So like, okay, what I've seen sometimes is you have your main and then you got your instrumental and then maybe you have your vocals and then maybe you have like your TV mix and then you'll have like a little bundle, a zip in that disco of your stems. Is that kind of what you like?
I'm gonna be honest, it's one of my pet peeves when people send me TV mixes
Okay,
or
so no TV mix,
acapella mixes. There's just too much.
too
I
much.
really get in the stem mix.
Just okay.
I can say on my side, I know that's probably more of a production side of things, but I have never been asked for a vocal stem or a TV mix
Okay, so
ever.
just the stems and then the editor can go in.
I get asked for stems all the times. Put
Oh,
them in there. If
ah,
they need them, it'll be in there.
okay.
And even with us, then we can look in there. But if not, like when I'm putting things in our playlist, sometimes I've accidentally put the acapella in there, and then I'm like, dang it. They have an acapella version. They're probably like, what is this for? Instead of just the full song. So I actually kind of don't like that, but that's a me preference.
Well, that's cool. Maybe like if people really are drawn to it, maybe you could put it in your little zip bundle so that,
Yeah,
that
and I mean, if it's there, that's completely fine. I'd rather someone have everything than nothing.
right,
So,
right.
yeah, that's one of those for me.
And then when you get the stems, like not everybody masters them like the radio mix um, of the instrumental and the main. Um,
Mhm.
do you find that that's a problem sometimes, or do they have to be mastered just like everything else?
It's not a problem, but it's one of those things, it can make it easier on the editor. And at the end of the day, if there's two songs to pick from, they might be like, this one's already kind of halfway done. Like, so I do say if you are able to, I would just have those stems mastered already, or just like a temp master on it, just so at least the volume levels are where they drag and drop it in. It's not like, what is happening here? So it's not a necessity, but I do think anything can help. So if you can, I would.
Okay, and then one last question about the disco bundle. Do you like to see like a little bio profile in there, or do you like to or do you like to see the signed document of the splits?
So in our Airtable, when we actually do submissions, we actually require that everyone puts in a one-stop agreement. So we have it there. If
Okay.
it's in the disco playlist, that's completely fine as well. I can see it. I won't drag it in just for the fact we have an Airtable, but it's like I don't have to double look into Airtable. So that's completely fine if it's there.
And then that's cool about your Airtable. Once you have it in your Airtable and you have like, let's say Jared, because I'm sure Jared's in there. Um, you got Jared already, right? And uh, then you don't have to keep asking unless it's a new artist, right? You don't have to keep you can just use the information he submitted, or do you want it per song, each signed agreement?
So we do, if it's a different song, yes, we have it for each song. But as far as each artist, whenever they put their information in for their PRO, we have that to lifetime. So that's really nice. Good example when we're doing stuff like Teen Mom's a great example. They'll send a list of all the songs they want, and within like 30 minutes, I need to send over who the writer and publishers are so they can do cue sheets. So it's nice that I can literally just type into that. It automates it, and I can already have it within a few minutes, and it's correct because the artist put it in there. We've double checked it, so that's nice for time and making sure everyone gets paid. So that stays in there. So no one has to do that twice.
Okay, yeah. So yay. For those of you that are just coming, we have Lauren Light with 206 Music, and we're talking about, her agency with that, and also Lauren Light also sometimes does supervision, so music supervision. So it's quite like it's a nice mix because you have all of these artists that you are meeting and that you have um, this group of this selection of curated music you've put together with all your favorites. And then when you are thinking of a song and it comes up with a brief, sometimes are you able to just pull from some of those songs, or do you need to something you've heard? I know I've heard that, and maybe it was Janet, or maybe it was somebody like that you're familiar with. Is that sometimes some that comes easy, or do you need to really go back and look at everything and remember?
Honestly, we're doing briefs. Like I think yesterday I personally did like 3 to 5 and the other two did multiple as well. And we're in disco all the time. I've heard the songs over and over and over again. We kind of have it systematized where we kind of know, but the good thing is, especially with certain artists, we kind of know what they do. So it's like, oh, they released, this funk track, they're asking for funk. Let's see if they actually sent anything new. So that's more of what I would do if it's like a newer song. It's like, okay, let's see if they have something else for this. Also, we have, the searchable thing where we can actually put in YouTube. We love to do when there's specific referent artists, we'll actually just type in those artists. So I love when people do sound alikes just because in the panic of 15 minutes, again, we know those people. It's like, well, I know Jerry would do this. I know this. Let me pull them up. Who else could do it? And if I type in the sound alike, I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't know they did that sad moniker way in the back. So a lot of artists do multiple projects. So that kind of helps them not slip through the gaps. And then with metadata, we always then, if there's a couple things like we need fun, upbeat hip hop, I'll literally type in fun, upbeat hip hop, see what comes up within the same parameters, lyrical topics within that 30 minutes. And that's kind of how we kind of fastly do it. But you're right, we know people already in the catalog. It's like we've listened to the music. We kind of know who's going to have that style and we go to that artist folders that we have. So in ours, we actually have it by artist folders, and it kind of has a description of some of the styles they do. So we can quickly kind of go, okay, hip hop. No, this person doesn't. This person doesn't. Oh, hip hop, open. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, yeah. So that's kind of how that kind of works fast. That was a very long, short answer. So
That's great. And so that's exciting. So when you're meeting a new artist, do you still get surprised, like with the music and like, oh my God, why didn't I find you sooner? Or,
Yeah. I mean, we find artists, and I love finding artists from even like my area, like growing up in North Carolina. I love people that haven't really been into sync because, they're this fresh, untapped. And it's just fun to see the excitement getting like a first placement. And then there's just other artists that send to us, and I'm always shocked. Like one reason we do our thing on Facebook called Catalog Apps is for that reason, just so we can kind of find some new talent because everyone that's kind of already in our system is able to submit at any time. So they're regularly sending us new music, but it's like that's a great place and people invite people there. So yeah, we're always surprised with new music. And I love finding someone that's like, what is this? This is cool, So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. Okay, so like I forgot to mention, Jared is our co-host today. And Jared also is a independent musician, and he's joined our team, Pandion Music Foundation, to sometimes facilitate with our supervisors or our agencies or just in general, maybe music stuff. There's so much to talk about, right, Jared? And so, do you have any questions that you put together for Lauren today? Because I think you have.
Yeah, I actually do want to open it more for Q&A for everybody, but I do want to say first, congratulations on the Surf Pro joint from Taylor.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. So I was looking,
We're
I said,
excited.
oh, okay, just in time.
Yeah. It was Trent's first ad. So
Yo,
excited. So yeah.
yeah, that's so wonderful. I just wanted to talk about, you kind of mentioned like the stems already and like having four people that was going to go for it. Was that the one, or was that another one that you had to choose for stems?
Yes, so the one that I was talking about, literally they asked for 4 stems because they were interested in 4 tracks, which is unheard of to have 4 from our playlist specifically. So that's going good for our artists. That means people are doing good. But the ones that we asked, only one person was able to deliver stems. So got it. And I don't, realistically, is that what made it happen? I don't know. But they did say it was easier to edit. So I would make an
That's
assumption.
crazy. Okay, for all of you listening, and if you're a music producer or you're working with a music producer, just remember that like while you're making the song, it's so easy to just do the stems right then and there. So just remember, put that on your list of finishing your song. So it's an easy thing to do while you're at it. That way you don't have to go back and try to find them, put them together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so I just definitely wanted to highlight that, both for the congratulations and also for the producers and artists who are in here to know how important stems are. So even if you're the artist and you say, "Oh, I don't have my stems," please keep in touch with your producers and make sure you can get your stems from them ahead of time, so you're not like trying to till they're like out of town and they don't have their stems with you. So I do want to open up to Q&A. Hopefully you do have some questions. You're here for a reason, so Lauren is here to answer them. And you can put them in the chat. Are we doing like hand raising too, so somebody can like do vocal questions as well?
you mean sing the questions? No, I'm kidding. I have a question.
Yeah, we can definitely unmute people if you'd like to get on camera and ask your question. You can like, if your camera's on, you could just raise your hand and I could see you. If not, you could also use that Zoom feature where it says raise hand. And then I'll
Yeah, if you do the Zoom feature, it's easier because you get put right to the top.
pop up. Yeah. I see Carly, so I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you to unmute.
So, how is
Hello.
everyone?
Good.
Good. Lauren, thank you. And Jared, thank you. Good to see you again, Jared, on the call. Lauren, I hope you're enjoying Italy. It looks absolutely beautiful there. And thanks for, making the time for all of us. And thanks, Pandion as well. Really appreciate it. Lauren, I have a quick question for you on the artist side and then transitioning into the business side. What made you want, like, what was that kind of switch that made you want to start that journey and still do both between being an artist and also advocating for artists within the sync world?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a dork and I just love music if we're gonna be flat out. And
Yeah.
I love all that I can personally do as an artist, but there is limits. And I saw so much potential, especially I was in the college space touring, and there was a lot of other fantastic artists that were in it. And I just saw the potential. It's like, you could be doing sync, you could be doing sync, you could really be doubling up your, and it was one of those people kept asking us specifically. I'd gotten to custom world a little bit with my other two co-owners, and everyone kept going, can we just go straight to you instead of going to a third party? Can we just go to straight to you? And the signs kind of all pointed, it was like, well, we probably should start our own thing. We got all the legals together, formed a company, an LLC, and then started onboarding artists as soon as we started getting clients. But it's just one of those, I kind of like to see every genre win, and I love listening to music all day. So it kind of plays into when I'm tired of recording music, I can listen to other people's music. So it kind of is the best of both worlds.
That's awesome. And how many years now have you been at it with the
I,
company?
I think we just hit 6 of what I consider. So because
Woo!
obviously starter years, but I think we're at 6 right now.
Wow,
Congratulations.
congrats.
Thanks.
Wow, that's a long time.
And by the way, if you haven't checked them out on line, they are a fabulous three person group, and they all super interesting in their own right. And we've had all of them, or
Mhm.
at least two of them, but I've been to all workshops with all of you, even if it was
Yeah.
a different group doing it. I think I did one with Nick once. Well, but you were the first one I did with you was with Nick, I think. Yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah, Nick,
Anyway, just
fantastic.
thank you, Carly, and I hope you finished your. Are you good with your question?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Lauren, for answering. Really appreciate it. And congrats. 6 years is a
Thanks.
while.
Jared, do you you want to go to the next questions?
Yeah, so Michelle Weiss Maslin asked about pretty much talking about that vintage song that you had for the trailer that you didn't use. Do you ever consider using the audio shake for stems for vintage stuff like that if you have no stems?
Yeah, actually, we do. I know a lot of different companies are a little different when it comes to vintage. Vintage just goes into its own territory, as everyone knows specific time periods. There was just not the ability to do certain things. Honestly, everything 90s, 2000s and ups, they kind of give a little bit of a grace period too. So a lot of times some of the trailers will even ask if we'll do some stuff like that or promo. But at the end of the day, sometimes they'll make those work, as nothing can really just make something sound like a timepiece versus having something from that timepiece. So that's the only one where I think stems is really not as important as the song itself sounding exactly from that time and just being a good song. But that's a good thing to try. We've done some of that when they were like, do you have any stems at all? We've just processed it through that.
Gotcha. And then Janet asks, are there any themes that you need more of right now?
Right now, specifically, we've had a lot of like feel good, like I'm feeling good, it feels good, celebratory. We've had that request ask a lot recently, especially in the ad space, and it kind of goes into TV world as well. Um, Other things, obviously, like Look at Me or like different things like that, always does pretty well. Um, One that we don't have a ton of, um, Inspirational Soaring. That is like, this is my time, this is my moment, not sad. We have a ton of inspirational sad, inspirational happy, but not cheesy. So think about our Grey's Anatomy, think about our I'm on top of the world promo, arms wide open. We could definitely use some more of those. And topic wise, anything funk or soul-y too, Motown, any day, get asked all the time. Couldn't have more every day. And those are the ones that pop up on the top of my head right this moment.
Ooh,
I better
yeah,
get y'all funk
yeah,
catalog going on, y'all. Y'all hear what's going on here.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions coming in through the chat, so hopefully we could get to most of them. I
Yeah.
did see Tim had his hand raised on camera, so I'm just gonna ask him to unmute.
Okay.
Hey, Lauren, what's up? Thanks for taking the time. My
Hi.
name's Tim. I'm in Nashville. I produce music that's more in the electronic space under the name the TCP. But I was just wondering, like, do you have like one thing that we as independent artists can do to make our music more attractive to sync?
Yeah, honestly, I would say a nice hook. Just something that is hookable for sync. Problem is, a lot of people try to make their whole song a sync hook, and it sounds lame. I'm just going to be upfront. Make the whole entire song artist and make sure there's something in that hook that can sell a product, sell a scene, or sell an emotion. I think if you just do that small little thing, obviously there's other things that can elevate it and make it more sync. But I found sometimes just having a song that literally has that buzzword, but everything else around it feels like a song sells things. So
That's
that would be
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
oh, go ahead, sorry.
sorry, one quick follow-up. Do you ever work with instrumental music, or are you always looking for stuff with vocals?
Yeah, we do specifically like classical, orchestral, things that are more inherently instrument driven. We literally did a brief the other day that was like electro for electronic brand, and they needed something that sounded like techno and they wanted only instrumental. So as long as it's a good song and it could carry itself without, because we have some people try to send us instrumentals and you need vocals or need something on it
Yeah.
because it kind of sounds barren. As long as it can carry the scene, we'll take it if it's good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so who's next?
I see Christina. Christina had messaged on the chat, so I'm just gonna ask her to mute, and then Luke, we'll get to you after.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. I have a couple songs in your catalog under the name Octoberture, and I just always wanted to meet you, and always just wanted to kind of hear your story, like how you ended up doing all of these things that you're doing. I know that's a really long answer, so you don't have to do
I
all
can
of
do
it.
a fast answer.
Yeah.
I did music full time, toured full time for a living, playing like 1,000 shows. Kind of got from local scene to college scene, festivals and fairs. Very tired and was like, I'm not actually getting able to write music and do music because I'm playing music and cover songs and like just on the road all the time. So COVID kind of really cemented in, okay, well, I guess I should start really focusing in on this sync thing. And it already kind of started our company because I was doing it kind of in between touring. And then I realized like I love this world. I can write every single day. I can listen to music every single day. I can help other artists, and that was tripling my income because it was just way more of a space that was better for me. So it just felt like a good fit, and then just kind of fully was like, all right, this is the place to be, and fully honed in. And I'm really excited to be where I'm at now.
That's
So
so great. COVID changed so many things, right? Like we all just went back to what
I
we could
think I wrote
do.
300 songs, and before that year, I couldn't write more than 12 in a year. So, you know, it was good for some things, not for a lot of things, but some things, you know.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for
Me.
being here.
And then Luke, and then we'll get to the questions in the chat.
Mhm.
Hello, Lauren. Nice to meet
Hi.
you. Thanks for being here. This has been fun and really informative. My question is more around released and unreleased music, like exclusive and non-exclusive. So when we send stuff to you, do you prefer unreleased music, or how do we separate it? Is there a way that you're looking for that at all in the metadata?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter on our side. There is
Mhm.
specific briefs that sometimes go, we would like unreleased. Good example, Grey's Anatomy likes it within 1 year being released or unreleased.
Okay.
It's not that very common, honestly. Again, there's some ads that sometimes are like, we would love to have the unreleased thing, but a lot of times they want something that's been released and has a TikTok viral sensation, and then they don't go with that. So I don't think it really matters. As long as it's a good song, I think you're fine. I do say in production world, a lot of times they do like to release the song. We're not in that space, so we're good. But if you were ever to submit to another production company that, did production music, a lot of times they like to release that on albums and want that unreleased so they can release it. But for us, we like released, unreleased. We just love to know if it is so we can for those opportunities, know if it's unreleased or released so we can push it for opportunities.
Okay, cool. And what's the difference between, can you talk more on that, the production world versus the world you're in? What's
Yeah.
the difference?
So Sync World, more like Sync agency side, we do a lot more of client base. So we're like doing like ad TV film on a
Mhm.
bigger scope. A lot of times productions kind of work more in the lane of like blanket license, and they're doing a lot of bigger pools of a lot of music. A lot of networks just dive into that, and it's a lot of smaller amounts, but get bigger over time as they just pile up. It's just kind of a way. Both are good. I always suggest to people, if they do instrumentals and whatnot, you can really pile up into that world, or, I say put a little bit into each basket because it's nice to have some working for you without even having to think about it. And then the licensing world, I do think we have a less opportunities, but they're bigger amounts money wise. So
Right.
it's just a little mix. They're both great worlds. I'm a part of both. So, but company wise, I enjoy being a part of this one. The sub publisher world and all that sounds like a lot of work. So I'm glad to be on this side.
Cool.
But
Sweet.
yeah.
Yeah. And then lastly with custom music, are you doing a lot of like custom briefs and reaching out to composers or people in your network and saying, hey, we've got like a few days or a week to get something to this brief? Like what percentage of what you're placing is written from scratch for a brief compared to just something in the catalog that you picked?
Well, let's say what's been custom demoed and what lands are very different stories. We do a lot of demos. A lot of those don't reach the finish line as, you're fighting for something, but we do a lot of custom demos as well as ads. I would say it's probably 25% of all of our
Mm-hmm.
placements versus 75% is more licensing a specific song that's already in existence. But like within this month, we've already done a couple projects with a couple of our artists. We have something called Originals, which we kind of create custom albums, and that's kind of to test run to see how people do in an environment being told how to fix or change a song. We find a lot of artists sometimes don't love being told what to do, and if they don't like it from us, they are not going to like it from an ad agency that has never played an instrument or maybe even a CD in their life. I don't know. So that's one of those things we kind of gear people up, train them, and then we ask them on. So yeah, that's always an opportunity, and we love to bring people on to customs as well, but we do have to trust them. So that's one of those, if anyone's ever interested, we can always put you through that pipeline. It's a nice
Cool.
little training ground.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for the info. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you,
Nice
Liz.
to meet you. See ya.
All right, we're going to move a little quicker since we're running down on time. So I do want to get to the more important questions. Where did the name come from? 206 is given Emerald City vibes, and that's for Marcus.
Yeah, that's so funny, Marcus. So it's funny. I think I was talking about earlier where we all were artists and kind of doing the custom world, doing songs together. We actually created our own internal like writing camp, and I think there was like maybe 7 or 8 of us there, and we rented a place. The room number was 206. And that night we were eating pizza, and jokingly, think it was Alex was like, we should just start a sync agency ourselves. And me and Chelsea agreed, and everyone else was like, I think we're just going to keep our pizza. Fast forward, we thought that would be a funny, cute little journey that we started in room 206. So that's the only answer to that. It was the room we decided to form a company in. Not Seattle. That's the zip.
And then Jesse McLean is asking for any recommendations for other places that you find briefs that are taking submissions, like is Taxi legit?
I have no comment as I have not worked with Taxi. I personally I haven't heard great things. But also I can't say. If it's a brief, the only thing I will say, if it's places that are having you pay for briefs, I would avoid that like the plague. Anywhere that is a reputable company will never have you pay to get briefs. Also, if it's probably really easy to get briefs, it might actually not be a place. I would just form relationship with the other agencies, try to get on their brief list, Usually they'll put you on there if you submit good music and you're super chill to work with. There's one way we do on Facebook group, we do post briefs, and then after a little bit of time, we start putting people into a brief list based on kind of what they do. So that's one of those things. I don't think there's a magical brief list, which is sad. And if it is magical, it's probably not real and they're charging for it. So just stay away from that. Find agencies that looking for stuff and they'll put you on a brief list for sure.
And then Jesse, TwoOHsix does have a Facebook group. I'm sure now he would drop that in for the link later. So you can just
Yeah.
keep in touch with that. And then we have another question in the ad space and for promo, do you see seasonal patterns outside of the holidays? And that's from Josh.
Do I see seasonal things in the ad space? I hate to say it, ad world feels like it's the same pocket with different music around it a little bit. The topics stay the same. I can probably tell you exactly what they are. Togetherness. It's going to be look at me, new thing. Again, don't say it just flat out like that, but they're going to be the same topics. If you kind of just steer clear friendship, platonic, anything that can kind of sell a product. Again, promos, like again, new year, new you, new space, new same thing. I do see sometimes trends depending on what's kind of popular. But again, as we were talking about earlier, we had a whole bunch of things that came up like we would love Sabrina Carpenter, we would love Chapel Roan. And at the end of the day, they went right back to what's been always in that ad, always in that space. So I wouldn't fully go by that. I think a lot of times upbeat is what sells the most in ads, upbeat, or if it's slow tempo, something that feels like lighthearted. So nothing very down unless you're doing like for an Advent health ad or insurance. But yeah, a lot of the space we've seen, I can say right now, funk soul vintage is kind of feeling great. Funk soul vintage, that sassy trap pop, you've heard it, you know what I'm talking about, you know. And then last, probably in ads that I'm still seeing, I'm blanking on some. Obviously, you can see some rock when it comes to like trucks and stuff like that. Um, mhm. And then hip hop's always reigning right now too. So pop, hip hop, funk soul is what I'm kind of seeing a lot of requests for.
Okay, perfect. And then you also answered a question that Tanya had about sassy trap and rap. So that's great. So Marcus, you have your hand raised. Marcus Lyons.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. Um, Hi, Lauren, and thanks for all this good information. So my question is, when you are when you do accept submissions, are you primarily looking for submissions that are matching current briefs or projects you're working on, or do you also consider submissions that what you're saying, well, I don't need it right now, but man, this stuff really is cool. Maybe, like down the line, I might have some use for this. So just kind of looking at primarily what is your approach to accepting submissions?
Yeah. So we actually do in our thing have a not at this time, which means the song's probably excellent, but it's probably something like polka music where I don't have any clients and I don't think, but possibly if that's ever something, that's a very weird thing to say, but it's something that I'm like, this is really cool, but we could use it later. We do gauge what clients we do have. So at top of mind, things that get grabbed first is things that I know I can actually pitch tomorrow. So those are like top priorities when signing songs. Everything else is, I think this could. If it's something that's not picked, sometimes it's not that the song isn't fantastic. It's just, I don't want to take space of a home when you could work with another agency that has that client. And I
That's
don't want to take one of your numbers because at the end of the day, which I don't know if anyone knows, you should probably only work with a handful of agencies so that you don't overlap in the non-exclusive world. So again, I don't want to take that space and you not get a placement when someone else over here has a client that could kill at that style. So I want people to be in mind when we don't take stuff sometimes. That is the only reason because we're kind of looking out for y'all too.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And CMV and Reed Jamison asks, do you ever take cover songs much? Like if they own all the masters and everything like that, do you ever work with covers?
We love covers, but we actually only take them when asked, just for the fact we're very used to right now the clearance side and seeing how hard certain covers are to take. So if we know that they haven't even been pre-cleared, we know certain artists don't even really clear. So we kind of wait till there's been some publisher interest, some leeway has been like, we would like to have this specific song. We've gotten clearance for the publishing side. We just need to get the masters. Then we'll collect those songs as we know it's been cleared and it can be cleared for the future. So that's kind of why we don't take on covers until they're asked for. But Christmas is a different story. We will take Christmas cover songs, as those are a little different.
Love a Christmas song.
Domain's fine. I just saw someone. Public domain's just fine.
There we go. Okay.
There's no clearance there on that side.
And then as far as the submission times that it takes for a song can do, is it like a 2 minute mark that you want a song to hit? If it's like a catchy thing, a catchy song with different parts, Rachel was asking.
Really, it's different. I got a brief the other day that needed a song that was 5 minutes long. So we need a little bit of everything. In the ad space, obviously we want songs that are longer than 30 seconds. I can do far better with a 2 minute song. Specifically, we probably won't take 30-second song unless it's just a random, we need 30 seconds exactly. So I would love to have songs that are at least 130 to 2 minute, 230 if it's going to be for promo use, as a lot of times they just need that much. And then anything over that, I mean, just gives an editor more room to cut. So.
Got you. And then for our last question, so we can be on time, Melissa, you have your last question. Take it away.
Yes. Hi, Lauren. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for this. This is actually 2 questions, and they'll be hopefully quick. One is, for the custom stuff or for the teams who are demoing, do you ever have a need for a lyricist or a lyric editor, lyric judger? The people who are really strong with music production, music writing, but maybe the words need some work.
I can't say in the custom world there's a ton of that, just for the fact a lot of times it's cutting to picture and it's more producer based with like a 1 or 2 line. And a lot of times in the ad space, they will say, we need a song about togetherness, or we want adventure is calling. Can you make that just sound pretty? So we don't have it as much, but I mean, if there was a need, I would definitely want to have someone that can write lyrics better. I say that, I take that back. Sometimes we do have, like, when it's a custom for like a kid's brand or whatever, that's a lot of writing. That would be bringing someone on. But as far as like the ad space, like for regular TV, it's not as common that there's a ton of lyrics, but kid world and whatnot definitely is.
For sure. Great, thanks. The other question was just, how did you come to end up spending half your time in Italy? As a half Italian myself, I find that amazing.
I met an Italian.
Wonderful.
We spend half the
And
year
they're
there.
so cute together.
Yeah, and he's in sync as well, is full-time producer and kills at it. So it works out very well for our schedules.
Amazing. So great to hear.
Yay. That's like, I think you're just like the power duo. And then also the power trio. So you got like,
yeah.
you got it all
The
going.
company calls him the company boyfriend because he's everything in between. So
Cute, so cute. So, um, Dane, our studio manager, just walked through. Okay, so I think we're gonna open it up to just giving us, letting everyone know that if they still have any more questions, you can join us with Ask Me Anything, right? You're doing that, right, Lauren? Yeah, great.
I am.
Yay. And then if people want to reach out, I'm just curious, in this group that have showed up, is there anyone here that is brand new today? Raise your hand. Yeah, so Kelly and Marcus, right, and Glenn, yeah. Cool. So so make sure you sign up with us, Pandion Music Foundation, so you can get, I know you signed up today, but make sure you're in our like our newsletter. And so that, yes, thank you, NIE, for posting that. And any of you that feel the need to express your, your love for our group, please send us an email or a little video, because we'll use that as added incentive to get funding for our nonprofit. We do all of this for free for you guys. And if, as you notice, we have Lauren with us today, and sometimes people have to pay for these kind of courses or these kind of workshops and classes. So we offer this for free because we care about you, independent artists and musicians. And this is really why we started, because this is not an easy industry. And we want to let you know that we are here for you. So this is really a labor of love that we do this for you. And Jared, do you want to share with who's up next week? And I think somebody in our group is going to be leading our community workshop.
Yeah.
Janet.
Was somebody speaking just now?
Yeah, just Janet. She's
Oh,
here.
go ahead.
So go ahead and you can introduce what's happening next week, or if you want me to, I can.
Yeah, so next week we have upcoming workshop for Wednesday, July 16th at 3 p.m. this time. So this one was 11, the next one will be 3 p.m. So make sure you keep that on your calendars. It'll be talking about cultivating joy as an act of resistance with our own Janet Bueller, who is in here. The link is already posted, and if not, it'll probably be posted again just in case you missed it. And if you want to say anything after this, let me know.
And just for closing, I mean, Lauren, you touched on so many great things, and one of the really amazing things that stands out for me is when you're writing a song, you're looking for, like, when agencies and supervisors are listening to your song, you as an artist really stand out, and then making sure you have that hook in there so that people can remember your song, like almost like hum it over and over again. That's the hook part. But if you're writing for sync and it's all about hook, sometimes when you're writing just for licensing, it really does show. And I think I'm hearing this from a lot of supervisors and agencies that, better to like find your artist brand or your artist sound and write because you love it. And if you are writing specifically for sync, maybe partner with another artist who can add their flavors of their personal vibe and put that in there. So anything to add about that, Lauren, as far as like the song, which is the most important thing here?
No, I think that's one thing. It's like you got to bring your own artistry to it. We're all at the end of the day looking for a song that makes you feel something and adds to a sing and makes it more powerful. And something that's kind of half-assed is not going to do it. So it's like bring your own self to it. Obviously, if it's something that you can do to make it elevated to the scene, a good example of where like help, I'm in a secret relationship, write a song about secrets or just, not telling about something. Like you don't have to verbatim do hope I'm in a secret relationship. Now, who knows who would ever write that, but it's just you got to be your own authentic you, and everyone will always appeal to that because it's so tucked down into something that, at the end of the day, you got to feel it and it has to be a good song at the end of the day.
Wonderful. And then speaking of like good songs, so we put in the chat our disco link. So we're opening it up for you to submit a song that Lauren and her group will be able to listen to. And so this is a special opportunity just for you who have showed up today and making sure it's radio ready and all the things that we listed, which is, do your stems separate. If you can always add it to your disco link later, but make sure you indicate that. I think that there's a note in your disco. You can probably make a little announcement if you're going to be behind in your stems. But if you don't have stems, just do your good song. And
Yeah, I always in the metadata just put stems available upon request.
ooh, yeah, exactly. There you go. And other than that, how do you, what's your preference, Lauren, in terms of people reaching out? I know some people are cool with social media. Some people want you to send an email directly or just wait. I know you post in Facebook sometimes to your community. So what is the best way that people can get a hold of you?
Yeah, honestly, Facebook is one of the best ways for us as we actively try to look there for what artists are sending. A lot of times, email, we kind of try to keep clear for clients, quote request and briefs, which you guys want. We don't want to lose those. So on Facebook, we kind of leave that. If you have questions at all at any time or anything, that's why we have the timeline. We keep that clean of any self-promotion except on Friday. So people actually have the access to ask questions, get anything from us. We post on Fridays, which kind of we listen through some of those songs. We post catalog gaps, which is kind of the things that we actively are looking for. People don't realize it's probably for something we're supervising or something we're working on a project and we're kind of incognito trying to ask for that. So those are the ways to best reach us. And, I would say Facebook right now. I wouldn't personally just email us as it's a pretty full inbox right now. But Facebook's the best for us.
Yay. And say what you want about Facebook, but in the end, it's
I
been like
know.
a working horse, right? It's just like, just keeps showing up.
Literally, our biggest ad that we ever did, it was a custom ad, Adidas National 28 spots was on a Facebook post.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
it's like one of those, you know.
I mean, that got us through COVID, right? All the music groups and the Facebook. So here we are with Facebook still. So thank you everyone for showing up. Jared, do you want to have anything else before we end?
I just thought of it. I don't know where everybody's level is of music and sync licensing, but if you have any loops that you got from Splice or BeatStars, anything, please do not send that. Not just to Lauren, but don't send that to anybody. Make everything custom, please. Melodies, please. Thank you.
Thank you everyone
Awesome.
for showing up, and we will see you next week. And Lauren, we're going to follow your story. When are you back in LA?
I will be back in September. I'm staying in Italy until then, so yeah.
Gosh, okay,
But
yeah.
good thing is I'll be here, so the Ask Anything I have blocked out tomorrow. So if people have questions, feel free. I'm going to make sure to get to everybody. So yeah.
And check out Lauren's music. She's really, really good, really beautiful singer, performer, and music is just dynamite. So thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Again, I love it here, and you guys are just doing a good thing for artists, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Lauren.
So
Thank you
much,
so much.
Lauren.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Jared.
everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Anna.
you,
Bye,
Thank you,
Pandion.
everyone.
everybody. See you next week, Janet.
Bye.